agreement was negotiated by the prior administration. When Mayor Dougherty came into office, I think it was a recognition by his administration, by the redeveloper, and by the planning consultants that the plan could and should be improved and updated, and also in a way that reflected current economic realities. And so that has triggered, and frankly, as we went through the existing agreement, frankly, it wasn't workable. Is the best way that I could put it. So those were sort of the ingredients and the reasons why there was a redoing the negotiation of the redevelopment agreement. Again, after the negotiation process, an amendment to the plan, so that we have something that actually works, that is good for the town, that accomplishes the goals of redevelopment that the governing body has set forth when we embarked on the redevelopment process, and something that was doable from the redeveloper's perspective, so that you actually have a redevelopment process that would result in something being built. The affordable housing obligations are part of that negotiation process, and I think that in terms of the percentage, which is again is still a discussion point, but Mr. Murphy can certainly address this point as well. There's certain economic realities to the project that required that issue to be revisited, again, so it could be built, so that it could be viable. There was a tremendous amount of financial analysis that went into this project. Like Jonathan Rose's office did an outstanding job, very thorough job, in understanding the economics of this project, not only from the municipality side, but also from the redeveloper side. And understand that when you're talking about financial agreement and tax abatements, there are limits on profitability of the project. So it's not as if the developer gets this enormously huge windfall here either. So it is, again, restructuring the plan and the relationship between the town and the redeveloper in a way that works and works for all parties involved. And as to some of the other affordable housing issues on a broader scale, I refer to the mayor.
We weren't actually going to bring this out tonight, but since Mr. Mayor reported up, two issues I want to clear up. One is the houses that are being under contract that developed prior to my administration are not low income. I think the rents are actually fairly substantial. Planners are agreeing with me. They're not cheap rents, those houses. And those are under contract by private owners who wanted to sell their homes to the developer. So we're not taking, I want that to be clear, we're not taking anybody's property. That was negotiated prior to this administration, and they're still under contract. Secondly, and I talked to the city acting council president, Michelle Harris, came a little while ago about each project in this town. And so as far as redevelopment project, we'll have a percent of affordable housing in it. However, there is a how can I put this, a vision, but my philosophy, and I hope the council will be supportive of this, as I've talked to some of the pastors in the town and people in the town about affordable infill process with partnering with nonprofits on building affordable housing. I'll give you a perfect example of the third ward that we just cut the ribbon a few weeks ago, or a month and a half ago on Harrison Street, the third ward. A wonderful project that is affordable, real affordable, $500+ a month for beautiful rental. I mean, real affordable housing. And not just in the second ward, and I agree with you, it should be spread out. And when you have the ability to sell a piece of property for a developer, and there's a sum of money that will come to the taxpayer of Morristown, I believe this council is going to have to make a policy decision on how they want to fund their affordable housing trust fund. You send out RFP for an agent. That is the process. That is the law. And I think that the right move for Morristown as a whole, in my opinion, and I hope the council will be supportive of this, as I go out and talk to many people in the town about it, is to partner with nonprofits into funding their pipeline to get distressed properties in neighborhoods and create real affordable housing. It's successful in many other parts of this country. It's great for builds. It brings back neighborhoods. It gives people real hope when they move into a neighborhood and have real affordable housing, that they're part of something. I think it's the right approach. I wasn't going to speak about it tonight, but since you brought up affordable housing, I figured I'd just take a moment to speak about it. We will talk more about it as time comes. We have an ordinance in front of us tonight that's going to defer a few hours to the end of the year, but we'll have at the end of the year about 800,000+ in our affordable housing trust fund. And when we move forward with this redevelopment agency voting on the redevelopment agreement and this amended plan to move this first phase forward to be the economic driver for this development, we're going to have to make a policy decision on how much we want to put into our affordable trust fund. Council may vote 7-0 not to fund any. I will fight that, and I believe that they should fund some of the money into the affordable housing trust fund to partner with nonprofits to buy distressed properties in their pipeline and build real affordable housing in neighborhoods in Morristown. And I think that from what I've seen on some of these nonprofits, from Homeless Solutions and other nonprofits, what they have done with properties in Morristown, they really have created, in my opinion, some very strong arguments about that type of partnership. I think that Jonathan Rose is working on affordable housing policy, correct, Daniel?
Yes.
So we're going to actually have, for the first time, affordable housing policy that we will present to the governing body. And I believe that that process will work. And I think in the end, and I agree with the councilwoman, we want a good amount of percentage of affordable housing. And I believe that we can get to that goal, or close to it, of the number that we're looking for in this project by working with nonprofits on building real affordable housing in our neighborhoods, finding distressed properties. I don't want to go into a lot of time because the public has a lot of questions. But I'll give you one quick example. We deal with many issues in this town with stacking and overcrowding and in our neighborhoods. And one of the things when you take a distressed property that's an issue, and I've been walking towards Morristown with our department heads, so we've found many issues so far. It's overcrowding, and we're working on it diligently. But when you take a distressed property that a landlord doesn't take care of it and is overcrowding, and that property gets purchased because they no longer they realize they're no longer going to be able to do certain things in this town because it won't tolerate stacking. That they take this property and it's distressed and they really build affordable housing, a real quality place for people to live at the right price. You know, that people really can feel part of some neighborhood and something, a single mom or a young couple or a young woman, a young man just starting out can't afford more than $500 a month. But what it does, it also gives that nonprofit who have credibility the opportunity to control and operate their properties correctly, and it brings back neighborhoods. And I think that's the policy that I'm going to put forward. I hope the council will be supportive. I know there's more debate on it, but so I appreciate that bringing that up. I think that's going to be a real win situation for the town of Morristown and for our affordable housing needs. It's been done in other places, and I don't want to go. We'll talk more about that as time goes by. But thank you for listening. Thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
I mean, it kind of amazes me in regards to what's happening with the affordable housing. I see a lot of new things that weren't discussed previously, and it just seems like the affordable housing piece was compromised somewhat. Again, I'm going to go by some ranges here of what affordable housing includes. Rental, when you start talking about rental, you're talking about anywhere from $500 for a family to almost $1,400 when you start talking about affordable units. Now, again, I'm going to reiterate on what I've mentioned previously, that out of the 600 units, if you looked at 20% of that, you're talking about 130, maybe 120 units, which was proposed, and I think the original plan had 131 affordable units within that plan, and they were mixed from moderate to low. And tonight I heard again that we were going to use some other agency within a nonprofit or so to do the affordables. But I am not convinced of that. There's no, I mean, I'm really not convinced of that. 131 units and 2.9 square miles, where are you going to put them? Are we, where exactly are they going to go?
Well, just for the
And
record-
how many are you proposing to look at?
Just for the record, so I want this clear. I inherited this project. I did not create this redevelopment. When I took over, this developer said, this is what he can build. This is what he can afford to build with affordable housing. I had our planners, Jonathan Rose, which are outstanding. I had our lawyer over here, who was outstanding. And developers opened their books. We scrubbed it. We came to a price for the DPW, which will come forward eventually. All that was done. This is what they said they can build. And we believe them as a development team. Jonathan Rose, the planners, and our attorney. Yes? Well, you can.
The numbers have, yes.
Hold on. So, if, that's why I'm glad the developer got up and said, if you don't want him to build these units with 5% affordable, this is what he can build. He's going to give it a set price. My thing is, I think you can take some of that money and put it in an affordable housing trust fund and partner with a nonprofit and build. Hold on, let me finish. If you want to have him build more, then that's your prerogative. When the time comes to vote yes or no, Councilor, prerogative to vote yes or no on this amendment to this redevelopment agreement.
Yes. I
I did not bring this forward. I inherited this. This is the best they said they can do, and this is what I'm bringing forward to the development team.
Okay.
I just want to make a comment real quickly, because I did do some research on this subject, and in regards to affordable housing, and the developer had stated previously that the funding had dried up somewhat, and I think he stated that in the newspaper. And I just want to make it clear that there are organizations that, as well as the state of New Jersey, that had over $20 million and $18 million in 2010. And in 2011, $18 million for the low-income tax credits. Yes, they did lower them by a little bit of $2 million, but they exist out there. Also, the developer actually that we had, which was NBI, last year they actually received funding for other projects within the state of New Jersey. So I'm just trying to understand what's happening. One is in Berkeley, Amboy, and the other one is somewhere in South Jersey, which I found out, which they actually won, and they obtained. One of the prices was $1.4 million, and the other one's $1.75 they received funding for. So I'm just really trying to understand what is really going on. I mean, I know that I'm hearing so many different things that I'm really confused at this point. And again, I just need to iterate that when we start talking about the low-income housing, we're talking about folks that make anywhere between $30,000 and $92,000. That's what we're talking about here. And I see a lot of people that fall within that category. The other thing is the DPW. How can we actually, and what one of the gentlemen came up and said something. I can't vote on anything, particularly if I don't know where the trucks are going to be parked. Where are these employees going to work? What building or what facility? And this is actually in phase one. Phase one, the first thing that we're going to do is going to be our DPW garage. And I have to have some indication, and no one has officially told me what we're going to be doing with DPW in regards to where our staff is going to go. I think that is important, something that's very important, before I even try to amend some type of plan.
Councilwoman.
I agree with you, and that's why we're going to consider every option. Whatever we're contractually bound by, which we're contractually bound by today, but we are still, with whatever this redevelopment entity approves, the administration will ensure that our public works department will continue to function. How we function, whether it's on a temporary basis or it's in a permanent location, is up for us to come back to you and tell you this is what we're doing. So we're considering all our options. We feel we have some valuable options, but no, we're not in a position to talk about it at this point. We know what we're dealing with. We know phase one is going to be is going to consume that property. They're going to be acquiring it, and we need to relocate. We know that, and we will have a plan. But as far as what you're looking at today, it is one component of it, and I agree that you want to know what we are, and over the coming months we will present something. But we know if we had to get up there tomorrow, we would get up there tomorrow and still continue to function in this town with regard to public works. We would.
Well, I'd like to add to that. When this redevelopment plan was adopted, however many years ago, before I was on the governing body, in fact, at that time there was no definite place where the facility was going to be relocated. There were locations that were suggested that were likely to lead to lengthy lawsuits and very costly construction. When the agreement was adopted, which I did vote on, we also didn't really know. And right now, at least, we've taken the very positive step of making sure there won't be garbage trucks parked in anybody's backyard. So my confidence level is that much higher, and we certainly had many more years for everybody in every department to think about what they do and how they would do it from either another temporary or permanent location. So I definitely want to hear the answer, but I understand that delivering those services is an administrative function, and we've got to solve for that problem very soon. And can assure the developer that if we go ahead with this, well, that's not going to hold us up.
Okay. I personally have a big problem with the 5% in this first building, considering there's going to be 600 units, and we're talking about 5% of 268 or whatever, which is 13 or whatever. Affordable housing isn't low-income housing, right? I heard that, I don't know who said it, it's not low-income. Affordable housing is for firemen, our policemen, our town workers, plumbers, teachers. There's state guidelines for the different size of the family and the income in it. And one of the major reasons, that I personally supported this project was to get affordable housing into this project. And I'm really disappointed at 5%. Really disappointed. Another thing that I'm disappointed in is the Speedwell Avenue redevelopment, the line for the intersection. Who is your traffic expert on your team?
Dewberry has been the traffic engineer that's working with the developer on the circulation.
That's not Bill Dean's company.
Yeah.
Well, he submitted testimony before us that the realignment of that intersection was the best that could be done at that point, and that should be done. And now here we are, and we're changing it again. What? I don't understand that. I mean, maybe you could explain it to me so I can.
Let me jump in here. If you're referring to testimony that was, we'll have to get the minutes, that the lining of the streets was the best that DOT, from what I understand, the DOT suggestion. What you see up there is DOT suggestion, not the lining of the streets. So, let's go back and research the notes. We may find a discrepancy on what DOT actually said is the best route.
The DOT, but I just was referring to what Bill Dean came up with.
That DOT, the lining of the street, would be the best alternative. And obviously DOT's position is this is the best alternative.
Okay, stop, please. No comments from the audience, please.